I figured it would start happening, and it has. We've got our first Nintendo Direct February 2024 leak, and it's a very interesting one. So what's going on, everybody? It's Zach from SwitchForce. I'm going to run you through this, all the games discussed, my take, and where we go from here. So as we know, Nintendo almost always has a Direct in February, and despite them this morning revealing Ink Joy-Con and a Princess Peach Showtime trailer, previously revealing the opening cinematic for Mario vs. Donkey Kong, this is all par for the course. This is how Nintendo advertises their games that come out in February and March. They can't wait for the Direct, there's not enough time, they've got to get the marketing going. So have no fear, there will be an early year Direct this year from Nintendo detailing new exciting games. But after today's Princess Peach trailer, somebody dug up a 4chan post where the person correctly predicted Ninja Peach and Cowgirl Peach. And they also listed out a number of other titles that would be at the next Nintendo Direct, the first of 2024. So this has been generating traction this morning because how the heck did they know about Cowgirl Peach and Ninja Peach when previously we only had a couple of costumes revealed and it wasn't those two? The other games they list, it's an interesting but I feel pretty safe list. Fire Emblem 4 Remake releasing in May. Donkey Kong Country is getting a new game for its 30th anniversary. Metroid Prime 2 Remastered, Grezzo remake of the Zelda Oracle games. That Good Feel game is getting localized. And Famicom Detective Club returns as Nintendo Detective Club. 5 high school girls must solve vicious crimes that they are personally involved with. Now, before we go into these games and what I think of them, because a lot of them have been commonly rumored and or leaked, I gotta break the news and burst your bubble. It was just uncovered that if you dive into the first Princess Peach Showtime trailer and pause right here, you can see that there are doorways indicating a ninja costume and a cowgirl costume. So if you're seeing this list of direct titles posted around and are worried that that's it, or you don't like this list, or on the contrary, you're super pumped, pause, slow down, rewind. This person just watch the trailer very carefully, and the rest of their list most assuredly is not real. Although I do think a number of these games could indeed be shown off. I knew Donkey Kong has been rumored for a long time, although at this point in the life cycle, could Nintendo be saving it for the next console? That seems likely. Another Fire Emblem game coming out in 2024 is also Plausible. We had Fire Emblem Engage last year, but the franchise has become more popular, it's become more prevalent, and Nintendo does like to pump these games out as we move into the end of the life cycle of the current console. Metroid Prime 2 Remastered should happen at some point before Metroid Prime 4. Maybe they show a Prime 4 trailer, as I've predicted, and then drop Metroid Prime 2 on the eShop as a fun shadow. Now, let me also point out that based on what we've heard from reliable insiders, Metroid Prime 2 and eventually Metroid Prime 3 will not be receiving the same treatment as Metroid Prime 1. That means that they will be touched up and given better resolution, but they won't be remasters in the same way as Metroid Prime 1. At least that is the scuttlebutt out there the most recently. I feel like that's probably accurate. Otherwise, I think they would have spaced these out more aptly. We got Metroid Prime 1 remastered a year ago, and we haven't had anything since, and Metroid Prime 4 should be out definitely this year, so that's within the next, 9-ish months, and so they're probably going to drop Prime 2 and Prime 3, maybe even on the same day, and hopefully for a smaller price point, given that they probably won't have all the bells and whistles. Grezzo remake of the Zelda Oracle games is where you lose me. I don't think they're going to remake those Oracle games. I think Nintendo would instead make a new 2D Zelda if that's the route they're going to go, especially because they made a big deal out of re-releasing Zelda Oracle of Ages and Oracle of Seasons on the Game Boy NSO app. That Good Feel game is getting localized. The game is Otogi Katsugeki Mameda no Bekaru Oracle Sayatoru no Sainen. Sorry for the pronunciation, but it's a spiritual successor to Goemon, and I don't really know anything about this game. So yeah, Famicom Detective Club has already been back on Switch. Reigniting that brand now as Nintendo Detective Club seems a bit odd, but at the end of the day, this list is not one we can trust. So then where do we go from there? Well, we go to things that we know and can see. We know Nintendo has been actively prepping Metroid Prime 4 for a long time. Any leak about Metroid Prime 4, I'm going to take with a grain of salt because it's a very obvious option. I also think that Donkey Kong is kind of an obvious choice because it's something that has been rumored for a long time. It's been predicted for a bunch of directs and it's never shown up. But as I mentioned a few minutes ago, I think at this point in the Switch life cycle, it might be best to just save it for the next console. Although, I will note that Nintendo is launching the Donkey Kong expansion to their Super Nintendo World Japan theme park in the springtime. Could they tie in a DK announcement to help hype up the theme park? Absolutely. In fact, they don't even have to date or give the platform for this Donkey Kong game. They can just say, hey, here's a new Donkey Kong game we're working on, and maybe it looks amazing, maybe it looks stylized, and maybe it's on both platforms or even just the successor. I really do think Nintendo will wait until the hardware is announced before they start even showing off Switch 2 games, but given that I believe Metroid Prime 4 will come out on both consoles, there's nothing to stop Nintendo from showing cross-generational games before the hardware is officially confirmed. Now, other titles that have been heavily rumored are things like the Metroid Prime 2 Remastered. Again, if that shows up in a leak, okay. Zelda, Wind Waker, and Zelda Twilight Princess have been coming forever and have never shown up. Will they finally release this year? If they're a thing, they have to. This is sort of the final hurrah, and I do predict that those are the Zelda games to make this year feel all Triforce-y. I don't think Nintendo has a brand new Zelda prepped, even of the 2D variety, nor do I think they have a full remake ready to go. I think this is a chance for them to just pump out Wind Waker, Twilight Princess, however they decide to release those and reveal those. A double pack, eShop only, we'll have to wait and see. In terms of other leaked games, we'd have to dig through the bin of already recycled leaks and rumors. There really isn't much yet on this new Direct, and that's why today's findings were so exciting until they were basically proven that the person is just grasping for straws. I do want to note that while I think Metroid Prime 4 will be a huge reveal at this Nintendo Direct, I would expect the rest of the Direct to be quite low-key. We are most definitely entering sort of the interim awkward period between consoles, and that means you're going to see releases that aren't really the biggest things. Outside of Metroid Prime 4, like, don't expect a new 3D Mario, don't expect the next Zelda game, don't expect a big Pokemon reveal. You're going to get titles probably from third parties, indie companies, and then smaller games, as well as remasters and remakes. Now, that's not to say remasters and remakes can't be exciting, because we don't need a leak to know that Paper Mario and the Thousand Year Door will be at this Direct and deliver new information and probably a solidified release date for the title later this summer. We know that the game has been rated, and that usually indicates that it's just about ready to go, so I expect this one to drop sooner rather than later. It could be a May release, and that would be exciting. Plus, we'll probably get more from Luigi's Mansion 2, and maybe another port/remaster thrown in there. Nonetheless, as soon as we get more details or leaks, especially from Pioro, I'm waiting for the bird to speak. In fact, I summon the bird. It's time for you to coo your majestic, magical words that somehow always end up true. In the meantime, though, let me know what games you want to see at the next Nintendo Direct and how you feel about some of the ones we talked about today. Until then, stay safe, stay healthy, stay happy, stay positive out there. Love you lots. SwitchForce out.